we should just be hunter-gatherers. We shouldn't be worried about the cosmic makeup of, orbiting planetary systems and stars. But somehow we have the intellect to be able to observe and decipher the mysteries of the universe. That in and of itself to me is proof that we're not just random mutation from a single-celled amoeba over thousands of years. Because every other observable animal in our universe does not have the rational capability to even understand that they're on a planet. To refute that argument about the infinite nature of the universe, because that's where science has gone. Science has essentially said that in order to refute some of these very strong logical arguments, they create actually non-scientific models that have never been observed, that science doesn't actually purport to be accurate, in order to kind of circumvent this. I call it mental gymnastics. So they're doing some mental gymnastics. The problem is that you have some very strong theorems that have been put forward in the last 30, 40 years that essentially debunk this infinite nature of the universe. So the first one would be Hawking, Ellis, and Penrose in the singularity proofs. So essentially what they proved is that the universe was expanding. And then mathematically they showed that. And then they said, if you take that back down, you can essentially reverse that mathematical theory to show that the universe comes back down to a singular point in time and space called the singularity, which has infinite density and curvature and has zero spatial volume. Well, the question then becomes, how much stuff can you fit in zero spatial volume? Well, the answer is nothing. No matter, no energy, no nothing. So if you can't fit anything materialistic inside of the singularity, then how does scientific materialism explain the beginning of the universe? Well, you would have to discredit that theorem, the singularity proof. And that's what science did. They built some scientific models that allowed them to circumvent the singularity theorem by Hawking, Ellis, and Penrose. And they created the multiverse theory, right? Which says that there could be other unseen galaxies in multiple, essentially like, what would you call that? Dimensions that were happening simultaneously that eventually allowed for, the creation of our universe. Okay, I guess you could make that argument. It's not really well supported, and I don't think any real rational scientist actually believes it. There was I think it was Stephen Myers one time was debating a scientist about that, and he brought up, the multiverse as kind of a counter to Stephen Myers' argument about the singularity theorem. And afterwards, they were riding in a car together and they're kind of friends. And he basically asked him, like, do you actually believe, the multiverse theory? And he said, no one actually believes that. But we put it forth as an argument to defend our position, right?
Yeah.
And so that's just what we have to use. But it just goes to show that even they're being facetious in putting that forward. They know that it's not an actual logical argument that should be used. But in order to defend their dogma of, say, Darwinian evolution or scientific materialism or whatever it may be, they're willing to use false arguments that they know are false, that maybe can be proven mathematically or, have some type of proof to them, in order to not have to evacuate their position. And I get that that's difficult, because this is a fundamental underlying position for them in all of their professional studies and scientific research and all of these things. That's the underpinning. And to throw that out, it's very difficult. It's like a faith crisis, right? Very difficult. So what's interesting to me, though, is there is another theorem, Borde, Guth, and Vilenkin. It's called the BGV theorem, which essentially is very broad and has shown that all cosmological models in which expansion occurs, including inflationary cosmology, the multiverse, the oscillating, and the cosmic egg models, are subject to the BGV theorem. So Vilenkin argues that evidence for a beginning is now almost unavoidable. As he explains, with the proof now in place, cosmologists can no longer hide behind the possibility of a past eternal universe. There is no escape. They have to face the problem of a cosmic beginning. Since our universe is expanding and the Borde-Guth-Vilenkin theorem does not depend upon any energy conditions, the theorem has reinforced one of the main conclusions of the original Hawking, Penrose, and Ellis result, i.e. that the universe had a temporal beginning, albeit on different theoretical grounds. This has now been proven by both observable astronomy and theoretical physics. So it's proven that the universe is finite. That essentially destroys scientific materialism.
Observable astronomy.
Yep.
I mean, how is that possible, right? Because we only have data going back hundreds of years on astrology, right? And so how could we possibly prove through observable...
You'd have to look it up, but they can. They can actually see the expansion of the universe in cosmology now. So we have ways of viewing the expansionary aspect of the universe in cosmology. We've been able to actually see the expansion of the universe through modern scientific discovery in cosmology. Come a long ways in our ability to observe the universe, which actually, I mean, this is a little tangential, but is one of my arguments about the design of the universe and where the earth is placed, that we're actually in the optimal position to be observers of the universe. So not only are we in the optimal position for sentient life to be complex sentient life, which is what we are, we're also in the optimal position to observe around us all of the universe, which is incredible to think about. We can get into that a little later in the portion of this I call the rare earth, which is essentially, how rare our position in the galaxy and the universe actually is. But I think that's another argument for design, is that if we were placed in any other aspect of the galaxy, we would not have the ability to observe the universe as we do and to uncover the mysteries of the universe like we do. Not only that, but then you can get into the whole argument of consciousness. Like if we are just, evolution of random, non-thinking, whatever you want to call it, right? What is Dawkins' quote? If we really are just properties from a bottomless, no design, no purpose, nothing but blind pittiness and difference, random selection and natural selection and random mutation, then why have we evolved to be able to understand the intricacies of the cosmos? We should just be hunter-gatherers. We shouldn't be worried about the cosmic makeup of, orbiting planetary systems and stars. But somehow we have the intellect to be able to observe and decipher the mysteries of the universe. That in and of itself to me is proof that we're not just random mutation from a single-celled amoeba over thousands of years. Because every other observable animal in our universe does not have the rational capability to even understand that they're on a planet, let alone to delve into the mysteries of how that planet functions, where it's at in its universe, in its galaxy, and where that galaxy is in the universe, and how all of those function. I mean, that to me is brilliant in and of itself. Man's ability to comprehend.